Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my December book haul video, and for once I actually have not a huge haul. I still have 29 books, but that's actually a lot less than I normally get, if you can believe that. I think I'm going to try to have smaller hauls next year. So as always, I am going to start with the new releases. So the first book that I got is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This was a really fun retelling of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I already read it. I really enjoyed it. You'll hear more about my thoughts on it in my wrap-up. I also got Love, Life, and the List by Casey West. This came out toward the end of the month, and I am planning on having this read by the time this video goes up. I really want to finish it before Saturday, which is a couple of days from now. It follows a girl who makes a list for herself in order to get more life experience and more heart. That way her art can be featured in the show, where normally they only show people who are older and she's in high school. So I hear that it is very cute, and all of my friends keep telling me that I will really enjoy it. So that's why I'm also like, I need to read this one. Also, the spine on this book is really pretty. I wasn't expecting it to look like that, and there's like nothing special here. I just like this color. Then I have The Girl in the Tower, which is the second book in the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden. I read the first book a couple of months ago and I really enjoyed it. It's a very slow burn fantasy, and it's like a Russian inspired fantasy. It was really intriguing. It's really beautifully written. The way that it ended got me really excited for the second book, and I cannot wait to get into it. Then I have Meet Cute by Jennifer L. Armentrout and various other authors. I talked about this one in my most anticipated releases video, and I have since then read this book and I really enjoyed it. There were some stories that I enjoyed more than others, but overall I thought it was a really good collection of stories. Then I have this baby, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which I'm so freaking excited about. I love this book so much, and I'm so thankful that it is here early. I'm already planning on rereading this book. I want it to be my first read of the year because I seriously just love this book so very much. If you were wondering what this looked like underneath, just check that out. I showed this off in a recent vlog, but I feel like I need to show it again just in case you didn't see that, because it's so beautiful. At this point, I will be owning at least 3 copies of this book, so that should be fun. Next, I'm not actually certain when this one came out, but it is Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin. This is a middle grade book, and it follows Snow White and Rose Red, and the cover is really what drew me to this. It's so gorgeous, and there's this bear on the back, but also, ooh, the end papers are pretty too. Throughout this whole book, there's just gorgeous illustrations, and oh my gosh, I love it so much. There's a boy surrounded by mushrooms, but as you can see, it's really just, ooh, a gnome. It's a little gnome. It's really just a beautiful book overall, and I cannot wait to read this one. I believe the author's the one that illustrated everything as well. Pretty. Then I have another middle grade book, and that is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. It's The Trials of Morrigan Crow. Middle grade is always very hit or miss for me, but so many of my friends have been telling me that this was their favorite book of the year, so I could not pass up the chance to read this one. Thank you so much to Big Honcho Media for sending it over to me. I am really excited to read it. Everybody has said that it kind of gives them like Harry Potter-esque vibes. I also really like this cover. And then look at that. Like, it's kind of thick for a middle grade book. And it follows a girl named Morrigan. She's born on Eventide, which is supposedly the most unlucky day, so everybody in her town and community blames her for every single misfortune that occurs. And it just sounds like it's going to be a really cool story, and I honestly don't know too much more than that. I just know that, again, so many of my friends loved this one, so that's really all that I want to know, but I'm really looking forward to reading it. The next book that I have to show you is actually a Christmas gift, and this was sent to me by Jane from It's Jane Lindsay. Thank you so much, Jane. I am really excited to read this book. It is The Thief by Megan Wellen Turner. This is the first book in, I think, what's now a quartet. I don't know if there's going to be more books after that, but it is an older YA fantasy series. It just sounds really good. Jane said that it's one of her favorites, and I'm really looking forward to diving into it. Totally forgot to show this with the new releases, but there's new Cardcaptor Sakura manga. This is called Clear Card. This is the first volume, so it's kind of short, but Kodansha just came out with this. There's going to be new Cardcaptor anime that is being shown in the winter 2018 season, so I'm really happy about this. Then I have 2 10th anniversary editions of books. I got the second book in Joe Abercrombie's series Before They Are Hanged. And I also got the second book in the Mistborn series, The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Next, I have a book that I was dreading picking up, and it is The Art of Harry Potter. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive book, and it has all different art concepts from the films, and I'm really excited to page through this. I think it's going to be really cool. It's so heavy. I cannot even describe how heavy this is. I waited until I could use a 30% off coupon to get this one because this was a pricey book. Next, I have Air Awakens by Elise Kova. This one my friend Rachel read recently and really loved it. She loved it so much that she read all 5 books in the series, and she always has the same reading taste as me, so I immediately picked it up when I heard that. All that I know about it is that it is a fantasy novel and it follows a girl who is a library apprentice. So that sounds promising. Then I have Nemesis Games by James S.A. Corey. This is the 5th book in the Expanse series, and I finally read the first book, Leviathan Wakes, this year, and I really loved it, so I'm definitely continuing on with the series, and I'm definitely getting these so I can be up to date. So this is the 5th one. The spines all look so pretty next to each other on my shelf. I think I only have 2 more that are currently out to get, and then I'll be current, but Persepolis Rising was just released in hardback, and I am collecting them in paperback, so I'm gonna be waiting another year for that one anyway. Next, I have The Call by Padera O'Gillen. This is a book that I didn't really know anything about, but I heard Vanessa from Paper Fairy talking about it, and she said that there were fairies. So that is all that I needed to know. I immediately ordered this one. And speaking of fairies, I picked up this independently published book. It's called Heart of the Fae. It is by Emma Hamm. It just said that it was for people who enjoyed fairy things, and I've watched a couple of YouTube reviews of the book, and I've read a couple of reviews on Goodreads, and everything seems to be really positive, so I'm always looking for more fairy stories, so I picked this one up. Then I have The Falconer by Elizabeth May. This is a young adult fantasy trilogy, and I believe it just concluded this year. I've heard from a bunch of people that it gets progressively better as you keep reading the books, so I haven't yet checked them out, but I love fantasy, so I want to do that. This next book I was just completely drawn to because of the cover. It was actually in my top 10 covers of 2017 video, and it is The Dollmaker of Krakow. This is by R.M. Romero, and it takes place in Poland during World War II. Follows a girl who is actually a doll, and she's a living doll, and in her doll kingdom her king and queen get overthrown, and then some kind of wind whisks her away and she ends up in Warsaw, Poland, and she befriends the doll maker who made her. They befriend 2 other people who are Jewish, and once the Nazis invade Poland, it's all about trying to do whatever they can to help them and have the power of love overcome the fear of what's going on in their country, and it just sounds like it's going to be a really powerful read. Then I have Last Seen Leaving by Caleb Roehrig. This is a thriller novel, and I don't know a thing about it. I have his other novel. I have an ARC version of it that I got at New York Comic Con this year. I've heard nothing but good things about this book and about his new book. I heard Cece from Problems of a Book Nerd talking about it, and now I can't remember if she read it and enjoyed it or if she wanted to read it and it was on her list of things to read, but that is where I first heard of it. Then my brother-in-law and sister-in-law got Andrew and I this gorgeous edition of The Princess Bride. This is actually the 30th anniversary edition, and it is a gorgeous book. I love that it looks like an old book, and then the inside of it is fully illustrated. There's an example. It is really pretty, and I actually hadn't seen The Princess Bride until Andrew and I started dating, and he was like, that is not a thing that can happen, so he made me watch it, and I loved it so much. So I'm really thankful that he introduced it to me, but I've never read the book, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And then Andrew's other brother got me this beautiful graphic novel that is an illustrated history of New York City, which is really cool because I live in New York, so I love hearing all about the history, and I was just paging through it earlier, and there are so many bookstores that are included in here, and there's a full page of the Strand, which is where Andrew proposed to me, so you know that I'm excited about that. I'm gonna see if I can find that page actually, because it's really nice. Look, there's a fully illustrated page of the Strand. So pretty and accurate. Then the novel was kind enough to send me a signed ARC of The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. And this is a contemporary novel that's coming out in 2018. I believe it's a debut. I believe it's magical realism, and it follows a girl who is coping with her mother's suicide. So it sounds like it's going to be very sad, but sometimes I'm in the mood for those, so I am looking forward to reading this one. And last, I'm going to show you the few classics that I picked up this month. I did not have enough of them to film a separate haul video, thank goodness, because I am already like out of space on my classics shelves. So the first one that I have here is The Iliad by Homer. This was actually a gift from Alexa of Alexa Loves Books, so thank you so much for giving this to me. I am really excited to read it, and she gave it to me in honor of the classics challenge that we are completing together this year. I already like talked about it a little bit in my bookish goals and resolutions video, but I'm also going to be doing an in-depth TBR outlining all of the classics that I'm planning on reading this year in case you want to join in and read any of them at the same time as me. Then I got two more of the Penguin Drops Caps books, the first one being The Secret Life of Bees, and this one is the K, which is also partially why I wanted to get it, because my name is Kristen, so that starts with a K. I know that's like not a great reason, but I'm trying to complete this collection. Now I have over half of them, which I'm pretty happy about. And I also added Leaves of Grass and Other Selected Poems by Walt Whitman to my Penguin Drops Caps collection. Then I have a pretty edition of The Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Suzanne. I actually read this book, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was interesting. I'm curious how I would feel about it if I reread it. I enjoyed it at the time. I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I actually heard it was mentioned on Sex and the City, and that's the reason that I even picked it up in the first place, because I think somebody was insulting Charlotte and they said that her life was like a Jacqueline Suzanne novel, and I was like, huh, what has she written? And I found this and I read it and I liked it. And I also got The Birds and Other Short Stories by Daphne du Maurier. She's the author of Rebecca, which is a book that I'm planning on rereading very soon. So many of Daphne du Maurier's books were adapted by Alfred Hitchcock, so they all have like kind of a little psychological thriller aspect to them, and I'm definitely interested in reading her short stories. And then I got 2 L.M. Montgomery books that I had never heard of before. The first one is The Blue Castle. I really loved Anne of Green Gables, and I want to read so many more of her books, and it's about a girl who is very like passive and does whatever her family tells her to do, and then one day she gets this letter and she just changes her mind. She decides to start saying what she feels, doing what she wants to do. Family thinks that she has gone like insane, and she ends up finding her one true love and the real life version of this blue castle that she thought only existed in her dreams. And I also got Jane of Lantern Hill by L.M. Montgomery, and it follows a young girl named Jane who lives in this like gloomy mansion with her mother, and she believes that her father is dead, but then she finds out that he isn't, and she gets invited to spend the summer with him on Prince Edward Island, and the two of them have a wonderful time together, and it's just all about her summer, and it sounds like it's gonna be really cute. And that's it! Those are all of the books that I picked up in December. I think this was a shorter haul than usual, so I'm very proud of that. And that's also surprising because it's Christmas, so, but no one ever gets me books because everyone assumes that I have all of the books, even though I have an Amazon wish list, but one day people will get me books. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this haul, or if you're excited about any of the ones that are coming out in January. I really hope that all of you pick up The Cruel Prince, and I will forever just keep saying that always. That's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!